Well, I think you really have hit the nail on the head here. It's her demeanor and behavior just hours after this brutal killing. The state wanted the jury to see that this is a woman who is a cold and calculated murderer. Of course, the defense says, I'm not, she's not a murderer. This is self-defense. She killed him because she had to. But he also said he saw some cuts on her fingers, which were bandaged, and she said she cut her hand at work on a glass. And she was only there for 15 hours. So it was really just to kind of put her before the jury, her demeanor, the day after the killing.
And Beth, let me ask something. I'm going to ask you to respond as a woman, because this case is sort of generating a lot of feelings in women today. Do you react to this woman in any way that can help me understand who she is or what prompted this behavior?
We don't know a lot about her. We know she was in a 4-year relationship, and then when she met, and she was living with this man, and then when she met Travis Alexander, within a week or so, they were still living in the same home, but apart from each other, apparently, and then it ended right away. So she fell very hard for Travis Alexander. We don't know if she carried on this way with other men, though, this stalking behavior, this obsessive behavior. But I do know that that her parents told the police that she was kind of hard to control as an adolescent, was always running away, and she dropped out of high school. But she didn't have a criminal record. But as a woman, this obsessive behavior, this stalking, I mean, I really can't relate to it. But maybe she saw him as a meal ticket for her because he was a very successful young man.
Beth, you have to think with pathology in your soul. You have to think about somebody who's not well. Laura has admitted to a little stalking behavior here and there. She admitted to it in her younger years.
Sure.
This is excessive stalking. In fact, what came out in court today for me made me start to think about dissociative identity disorder.
Which is what?
What used to be called, by the way, thank you, Beth Karras, for keeping us up to date in the courtroom. We really do appreciate it. But dissociative identity disorder is what used to be called multiple personality disorder.
Oh, yeah.
So literally, it's kind of complicated, but sort of one person goes under it, another one emerges.
Right.
One can be a psychopathic killer, one can be a kindergarten teacher, and one can be gay, one can be straight, one can be male, one can be female, and all these different personalities emerge with time. And literally, when one is in control, let's say the guy that went to...
So there's two personalities.
Oh, there may be many personalities. Oh. There's usually an executive persona. Look at her now in court crying. Now, do you look at that, Laura?
Yeah.
Do you feel like those tears are from a deep place? Do you connect to an emotion there, or do you feel like that's just somebody who's crying because, well...
I definitely feel like she's removed, if that's what you're saying.
Well, it's fascinating you say removed, because, again, a dissociative person would be upset and angry and removed from what happened, and yet reacting to what some part of her did. So it literally is a disorder of being removed.
So there's a part of her that knows that she boiled Bunny.
Boiled the bunny, and I can't believe it. Could that really have happened? Oh, I'm so ill. Oh, my, woe is me.
Is that why she's crying at all of the pictures? Because she recognizes that something is guilty?
Maybe, or she's a true psychopath and is just behaving the way she thinks she should behave, emotions that a normal person would emit if, say, they weren't guilty.
So which girl do you think he was dating? Because I bet that guy liked a little crazy.
Well, he got it. He certainly got that.
Yes, he did.
Again, you're scaring me a little bit, Laura. But joining us now, Judge Karen Mills Francis, author of Stay in Your Lanes, Judge Karen's Guides to Your Best Life, and criminal defense attorney. You can see he has a website, speaktomark.com, Mark Eiglarsh. All right, Karen, what does it do to Jodi's case to know that she killed a man viciously, I mean, just brutally, and then goes and hangs out with another guy and it doesn't seem fazed in the least?
Well, I think, and you should know this, I know you know this, Dr. Drew, is that when there is a dysfunctional relationship, usually that dysfunction is going on both ways. In an alcoholic relationship, usually somebody is an enabler. The victim grew up in a home with 2 drug addict parents and spent a lot of his childhood homeless, in and out of homeless shelters, sometimes living in his cars. That's what I read about him. So we don't know what mental dynamics he brought to this relationship, but it was obviously a very dysfunctional relationship. I mean, she slashed his tires twice. She hacked into his Facebook page. She's sending threatening emails to his girlfriends. She's following him when he's on dates. And yet at 4 o'clock in the morning when she shows up, he welcomes her in and they have sex.
Yeah, Karen, you are so right on with that. I mean, it takes two, and there's, what I always say is that the traumas of the past attract us to a certain kind of people and a certain kinds of situations. And why was he attracted to her? Laura says he liked crazy.
Yeah.
That's one way of sort of summarizing it and making it easy to understand that. But the reason he liked crazy is he grew up with crazy.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah,
of course.
He grew up with crazy.
Yeah,
It feels comfortable, familiar.
That's right. Mark, do you agree with all that?
Sounds good to me, but who knows better is someone like yourself. I'm only as good as the experts that I can call in a case, and I'd like to put you on call right now and ask you, Drew, if I called you as a defense expert and I asked you to support the defense theory which they're advancing, that somehow this was domestic violence related, it was self-defense, she finally just exploded. I'm putting you on the spot. What would you tell the jury to support the defense theory?
Now, remember, this is not my personal belief. This is me working for you, Mark.
Yes,
I would bring
correct.
up exactly what Judge Karen just brought up and talk about the probability of that trauma inducing aggression and potential violence in him, which we don't know if he had. I don't want to. I hate this idea of making the victim.
Right.
I hate it. It disgusts me. But you put me on the spot
But their
here.
expert is going to give facts that it's going to support this theory.
That's what's going to happen.
And
then I would talk about her having been triggered by all that and sort of playing it and maybe dissociating. All right, guys.
Take responsibility away from anybody.
Well, unfortunately, this is you are onto something.